Welcome back to another episode of Let's Face the Facts. I'm David Almeida, and every week I sit down with an actor or artist friend. We watch an episode of the classic sitcom, The Facts of Life. Then I hit record, we talk about the show, and anything and everything else it might inspire us to discuss. This week, my guest is Kathy Baker Wood, another one of the many, many hilarious, funny, talented, insane, crazy, awesome people that I get to work with here in Central Florida. Kathy is one of my especially most favorite people. I just adore this girl, and she is hilariously funny, and hopefully you will understand what I'm talking about by the time the show is over. This week, she and I watched Season 4, Episode 11, and it's called September Song. The original air date was December 22nd, 1982. That's all. No really other intros this week. Think we're ready to jump on in. Let's Face the Facts with Kathy Baker Wood. Well, welcome to the show, Kathy Baker Wood.
Well, thank you, David Almeida. How do people say your last name? Almeida?
People say it everywhere, up and down, but it is Americanized, so we say Almeida.
Yeah,
I
know.
Even though Portuguese, Almeida.
But when we talk about you, which we do
as in
times,
the
behind
world,
your back,
the world always is talking
it's
about
David
me.
Almeida. David Almeida? No, Almeida. David Almeida. I used to say Almeida all the time. Anyway.
So there are people who are close friends of mine who still mispronounce it. It's just a fact of life.
I know.
Oh, see what I did
fact
there?
Fact of life.
See what I did?
When the world never seems to be living up to your dreams.
We just watched the show.
Yes, we did.
No, before we start, actually. Kathy,
yes.
You are one of my mostest favoritist people in the whole wide world ever.
Oh,
and
I wish I could say the same. I mean, I say the same about you all the time. Stop beating your head against the wall. I adore you. You're one of the few that still like me, despite all of the rumors.
We have just watched September Song. It was written by Bob Peete, P-E-E-T-E. I looked up his credits. He's got a lot of Good Times, some Diff'rent Strokes, some What's Happening Now, which was the sequel show to What's Happening.
Right.
And a lot of Amen, the Sherman Hemsley show. Remember that?
I saw maybe a couple, but yeah.
So he was certainly involved in high-profile shows and all that, but this is, I think, his only writing credit for Facts of Life. But this show was, the first thing I said to you before we played it was, I was like, what the fuck does this title mean? Right. I had pre-watched it and taken my notes, but as I sat down to show it to you, I went, wait a minute. I realized I'd never understood what the title meant.
I had thought it was referring to May-December romances at first. Like that's kind of...
September Song, this is according to Wikipedia, is an American standard popular song composed by Kurt Weill with lyrics by Maxwell Anderson, originally introduced by Walter Huston in the 1938 Broadway musical production Knickerbocker Holiday.
Woo! Say that 10 times fast.
Exactly.
Knickerbocker Holiday.
Now, why haven't they revived that?
I don't know. It's so popular.
And it has a clickable link. I will look to see what that show is. The song is an older person's plea to a younger potential lover that the courting activities of younger suitors and the objects of their desire are transient and time-wasting. As an older suitor, the speaker hasn't, quote, got time for the waiting game. So you are absolutely right that it's a reference, and May to December is a lyric in there. So part of the lyric is May December, and this could be the origin of the term, a May December romance.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah,
actually,
it very well could be.
I thought,
if not, it's certainly an early reference to it because it's. I mean, we're talking 1938. That's like before the history of recorded time.
I was at least 12 then. Something like that.
You look great, kiddo.
Thank you.
The surgery's paying off.
Except I can't move my mouth.
Before we go on, the beginning of the show, I always ask my guest, would you please, Kathy Baker Wood, give us just a 1 or 2 sentence, quick synopsis of what we just watched? Like what you might see in the TV guide, just to give a general idea.
Oh, gosh, what we'd see in the TV guide. Let's see. Mrs. Garrett may have found love while wearing an amazingly bright red outfit. Wear your sunglasses, folks, and join us at 8 p.m. Good Lord.
And shiny pants.
You
later discovered.
Yes, I almost missed that. Which I'm sorry.
It's wow.
Very, very thankful I didn't.
Now, did you watch the show growing up? Was this a thing for you?
Absolutely.
You need not divulge your age, but if
yeah. Anybody who has any inkling of who I am, they know. So.
Did you watch it faithfully? Or
I did.
You did?
I did. Oh, yeah. But TV in general was very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Hells yeah.
I don't know what I would have done without TV. Literally. What did people do? Did they read? Because
we were raised by the television, our generation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is that this episode is about Mrs. Garrett being in a romantic affiliation.
Yes.
And it's called September Song, and we've already been discussing the May-December thing. One of the issues that comes up early is the age of her suitor. And he admits to being 70. Mm-hmm. And the actor is 70. I did look it up.
Oh,
we'll talk about him in a minute.
Okay.
But at one point, it is explicitly stated he's old enough to be Mrs. Garrett's father. And... you looked at me.
I know. I was like,
you looked at me and you're like, and you even said, how old is Mrs. Garrett's? And I'm like, we will talk. Save it for the show. Shh. But it's true. Charlotte Rae at this point is 56.
She's 56.
She's 56 here. So he is only 14 years older than her.
Ooh, wow. That's a heck of a father.
Yeah. I mean, not impossible, but...
Well,
really?
No. Yeah. That's absurd.
But highly improbable.
But were they trying to say that Mrs. Garrett was in her 40s? Supposedly?
I hope they weren't trying to pass that off. It's like, girl, come on.
I always wondered because she always seemed so old because we were young watching the show, but I always thought, anybody who wears their hair like that and the whole thing, she looks so matronly, and obviously that was a choice. But even then, when you think 56.
So the episode starts in the cafeteria, and it's the four girls, and they are aerobicizing. Such a big fad.
The eating area, yes.
Yeah, sweating where they serve the food. You do.
Yeah.
And they are, they're listening to what is a cassette tape, we assume, of some high-energy exercise music, and... I guess it's like Joe is sort of leading them, but they're not really in sync. It's a little sloppy, but all of them are kind of like, like they're dying.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to have a little costume check here. When they're not in their uniforms and they're in their street clothes, discussions happen.
Oh, my God.
Joe is wearing sweats. Appropriate. Blair is wearing an all-black tracksuit.
Yes.
Appropriate.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Tootie is wearing a sweatshirt and leg warmers over her jeans.
I know.
What is happening?
I thought the same thing. I'm like, okay, is that really what I'm seeing? Is that really what I'm seeing?
Leg warmers warm your legs when there's nothing else to warm them. Who puts leg warmers over? So ridiculous.
I don't know, but it was very fashionable, and that's why my brain immediately went back to high school. And I'm like, did I ever see anybody do that? Because I wasn't cool enough to have leg warmers. Okay, I went to Catholic high school, and God forbid, because God also hates people who wear leg warmers. I guess because I had to wear skirts in 10-degree weather.
You'll wear those little plaid skirts and freeze your legs off, and
oh my God,
and praise Jesus
awful.
and like it.
Right? Oh,
wow.
Yes. Oh yes.
But and the thing we've talked about is. Okay, so that could be a costumer fail. But Kim Fields, did you look and say, is this a real, don't talk, I'm only a 14-year-old girl right here.
Right, yeah.
Playing, oh God, she's 13. She's playing 15, but she is 13.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but to say, I'm an actual 13-year-old, I'm an actual teenager that you're costuming, and you don't put leg warmers over jeans.
You would think that they would know, or did they have any say in it? So whenever I see stuff like that in film or TV, I always think, where was that conversation, or did it ever happen?
Yeah. And was someone afraid to have it, or did it just
Yes.
or they clueless?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So many times
It
you
depends.
see stuff.
It depends on the dynamic of everything that, whoever's, so important enough that they're doing that.
So Tootie's outfit is a bit of a disaster.
Yes.
And then we have Natalie.
Oh, Lord Almighty.
When I want to go to the gym, you know what I reach for? Skin tight green overalls.
That's the thing. They're so tight.
Skin tight.
And what the hell?
Green overalls.
Yes.
And not denim, not denim overalls. They were made of, they looked like a gauze, a very thin, breezy, like summery type of a fabric.
I have no idea. No idea.
And
none at all. That's what I was trying to figure it out.
I am so confused too. And I've said before, Mindy Cohn, they've put her in form-fitting stuff a couple of other times. And even though Natalie is unspokenly the fat one, she actually looks okay.
Yeah,
as far as it's like, her body is, she's a curvy girl.
Yeah.
The thing I have such a problem with is the boobs. They are so unsupported.
Yeah.
They are not small. And yet...
So what you do is have her be up front in a really brightly colored outfit and then doing jumping jacks.
And then doing jumping jacks,
because them are the facts of life, baby.
Yeah.
It's right there.
That's not too subliminal. But
I
it's,
know.
So we have 2 wins and 2 epic fails.
So, really bad choices for the costuming. Sorry, I don't know who did the costumes, but
and
chances are they aren't alive now, so it's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, but this is the catapult to the conversation about, wow, we should be in better shape. Even Mrs. Garrett is jogging 2 miles a day. And it's like, well, she's jogging 2 miles a day because she's got this new fella, Professor Clayton, the English lit teacher at Bates. They've been seeing each other. We're going to talk expositionally to each other now.
Right.
They've been seeing each other a lot. And when she says, one of them says, seeing each other, they're dating.
What the hell? I caught that too. Like, what is that supposed to mean?
I don't know that there was a difference.
Does that mean like if you're seeing somebody, you're not touching them? You're just seeing them?
You're seeing
I'm seeing this person. I'm not touching them.
Through their bedroom window with binoculars.
I've seen a lot of people. Wow.
Yeah.
For God's sakes, I've seen the world, and this is just disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get that.
I see him, and he just can't see himself dating me. Sadly, that's the story of my life.
No.
But quickly it comes up because he's much older than she is. Much.
They don't look much, or he doesn't look much older.
And 1982 reference alert. Whoop, whoop. Tootie says something about, it's fine for younger women to be dating older men. And Joe says, you write 1 letter to Rick Springfield and suddenly you're an expert. I'm not sure if is there a May December Rick Springfield song? I'm not familiar with his oeuvre. But
not that I know of.
Yeah. But the Rick Springfield...
Is it just because Rick Springfield would do like love songs that kind of a reference, like he was, a romantic heartthrob in the day.
Yeah.
So you're friends with him, so then maybe that's
or just simply Tootie being a younger girl writing to Rick Springfield who is an adult. The idea that you have a crush on... you have a crush on... You have you fantasize about him being your boyfriend kind of a thing. I think that's what it probably is referring to. Anyhow, enter Mrs. Garrett and his name is Henry Clayton.
Yes.
And they have been out jogging. Yeah. And if you're not sure which one of them is a boy and which one of them is the girl, they put him in blue. And Mrs. Garrett is wearing what color, Kathy?
Oh my God, red! It's red! Oh, my eyes! And then we accent it with a towel that's also got red! The color was obnoxious.
And the towel has like bright pinks and stuff in it too.
Ew.
But we have seen her in like bright color, like a bright blue blouse. This is a big red blousey sweatshirt kind of a thing. Yeah. So it's a lot of fabric that doesn't help with the impact.
Red shiny pants to it or something. It's like a weird...
And it's like, and they weren't, I don't think they were like lycra shiny. They looked more like polished cotton or leather shiny. No. So is she jogging in leather pants?
did these people ever see anybody work out in their life? Did they? No, I mean, the 80s, that was all about aerobics. So everybody was wearing the leotards with the
let's get physical.
Butt,
Yeah.
And they probably all went, oh no, we're not wearing that. Oh,
yeah,
we're definitely not wearing that.
That's no.
That would be too inappropriate. That would be way inappropriate, and then we'd have to actually discuss the facts of life with the people who we watched the show with.
Not acceptable. So because there is this speculation as to how old this old codger is, this man with one foot in the grave, Natalie walks over. They're introduced. So they had not met him. They know of him.
Right.
They knew his name and who she was seeing, but they had never been formally introduced. So Natalie walks over in perfect Natalie fashion. Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm 15. How old are you?
Right.
Big laugh. She is wrong. She is not 15.
Oh.
This is the second time this season they have gotten Natalie's age wrong.
Really?
Natalie was 13 and explicitly stated that she was 13 in season 1.
Ooh.
We are now 3 seasons later. 3 seasons later, she is 16. Tootie is 15.
Okay.
And I'll take it even further. It is explicitly stated that her birthday is in September. So it's not like, well, maybe it's the middle of the school year and she hasn't turned 16 yet. No!
Good for you. All right.
No! She would have been 16 at the beginning of the school year.
Good for you. Now that's where I say it's the actor's fault, because even though it could have been a different writer, it was a different writer actually, and so okay, we'll give them a little bit of leeway. But if you're playing that role, you remember when you said how old?
Didn't I say I was 13 3 years ago?
On, right?
Yeah. But so true. And it's very clear that every season so far has been a new school year. I could go on, but this has been...
I'm trying to remember now, yeah.
This has been a long-standing thing for me with keeping track of the ages of the girls and both the actresses and the characters, because it's not always matching.
Oh.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Good catch, sir.
Yes.
Good catch.
So the actor playing Mr. Clayton is the actor's name, character actor Murray Matheson.
Murray Matheson.
And he's one of those actors where it's like, oh, I know I've seen him in a bunch of things. Don't know what the fuck they are.
Yeah,
have no memory, can't remember.
Because I've seen him before too. He's one of those guys of the time period.
He's actually Australian born. Ooh. Even though he plays English here. And clearly his thing, all I can think of was David Niven.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
He's got one of those perfectly charming, clipped English accents. Oh, well, I was just saying to Mrs. Garrett, I couldn't wait to meet the young girls. Like, he's got this so civilized type of a demeanor about him. Very David Niven. But he has a career that goes back to pretty much the dawn of television. He was on the Alfred Hitchcock Hour. He was on Here's Lucy. He was in Night Gallery, Marcus Welby, Hawaii Five-0, Charlie's Angels.
Marcus Welby.
Yes.
Oh my God, yes.
Battlestar Galactica. Oh, wow. He was on Three's Company and Newhart.
Of course.
I mean, tons of credits of all shows that we know. And I was like, I know I've seen him on these. Can't remember any of those appearances. But to look at his age, I did look it up and I was like, how old was this actor? Yeah. And he was 70 when he made this. Andy has, among his film credits, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, the film version of the musical.
Okay.
And Rabbit Test.
What?
Do you remember Rabbit Test?
No, what is that?
That's the Joan Rivers written and directed movie about the first man who ever got pregnant, played by a then unknown Billy Crystal before Soap.
Oh my God.
This was in the 70s.
I was going to say Billy Crystal and Soap. Yeah, that's a long time ago. So no, I never heard of Rabbit Test.
Rabbit Test, yeah. It is like the only movie Joan Rivers ever directed. I think she wrote some other stuff, yeah.
Well, that's the only one she should ever touched.
Yes.
Nothing else for her. Oh,
yeah. Then we had the later version in the 90s, the Arnold Schwarzenegger as the pregnant man, Jr.
Yeah, yeah.
So Mrs. Garrett pleasantly says, oh, Natalie is the, she writes for the school paper and always asks the pointed questions. And he says, well, all you'll ever get out of me is my name, rank, and serial number.
3, 4, 5. It's still uncomfortable laugh. Uncomfortable laugh.
Big, long, cackly, explosive Mrs. Garrett laugh.
Yeah, we get that the girls are supposed to hear you laugh so much that they clearly think you're being fake. Now the audience is uncomfortable. Really, stop it. Stop it.
So then he does say, I just reached 70 years old. And then more jokes happen. Mrs. Garrett continues to make a fool out of herself over this guy. Yeah. And then Tootie says, oh, the new curtains that you ordered arrived. And she says, oh, Henry, maybe you could help me put them up. And he's like, well, of course, I do have to make a phone call first. My answering service. Remember answering services?
God. Yeah.
So she directs him to the parlor and the phone in there. Yeah. So while he's gone, the girls are all like, oh, bringing them up to your bedroom to hang the curtain.
Right. Yeah, Blair of all things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But she says, no, it's not like that. Stop. Mrs. Garrett is pretty conservative. But she does say, oh, no, he's not just a teacher. She says, he's a visiting professor. And I'm like, Bates is a high school like Eastland. Bates is like a prep school. Uh-huh. It's not a college. So I don't think you can be a visiting professor at a high school. Isn't that weird? Or am I crazy?
So... Okay, because I was thinking, that's where I was confused too, because I was like, is this supposed to be a continuing...
Yeah, no,
but
Bates...
if they're teenagers, so they're in high school.
They're high school, yeah.
And then
This is the senior year for Blair and Joe. Natalie is a junior, Tootie's a sophomore.
Right.
And, but the thing is...
No, you're not a visiting professor in a high school.
I don't... That's it. Now,
Unless he was giving a speech or something, or some kind of a workshop or something, maybe... but not typically.
Or if you teach, in his side time, if he teaches a class at the local college, Langley, if you teach at a college, you can be a professor. You're adjunct. Like the term professor is the term for teacher at a college.
Yeah.
And so, anyway.
That's how I took it at first, is that he was actually at a school somewhere nearby. I didn't think he was there.
No, but that's it. They're at
Bates,
Eastland.
Okay.
Bates is the boys' school. That whenever they need to have a dance or have dates or whatever, it's Bates is where they go to. Bates for dates. But she says he's taught at Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford. And Tootie and Natalie is like, oh, can't hold on a job, huh? Natalie is a very funny little naysayer because she's not really convinced that this is all a big thing. Because she's the most concerned over the age difference because her dad's a doctor. And she's like, no, when people get old, they get sick.
Right.
So fuck that. Fuck old people. I hate them. So that's Natalie.
Yes.
I'm paraphrasing. But then Mrs. Garrett says, he's traveled the world. His books have been published in 7 languages. And then...
Girls!
Yeah. Is that your Mrs. Garrett impression?
No, I'm just listening.
I invite people to join me.
That's hard to do after you just did such a good one.
Stop.
But she's always shaking her head, and she doesn't have Parkinson's. She's not a Catherine
And the thing, she doesn't. You think she is, but she's not. She doesn't shake her head, but that's what her voice sounds like. She just has a natural waver in her voice. But then we have this moment where then talk about him. Suddenly her smile gets very serious, and she looks over the level of the camera and says, he's a very... Why are you laughing? This is serious.
I'm sorry.
How dare you?
I know. This is such a dramatic show.
He's a very
this is us.
Special man. and there's this sort of pregnant pause of... Huh?
But her face... It was hard to follow the thought because I thought, okay, I think you're supposed to be going this direction, but you stopped off somewhere and got a coffee because I'm confused because I don't get it.
It's I think what she was going for is I'm just listing his credits and he's great. And this is the moment of, and I'm really smitten.
That's what I would assume. But
then there's this awkward pause at the end. Like, I don't know what they thought was going to happen or if the girls... We're told to give that, you got to let that breathe. You got to let that moment breathe.
Oh, there are too many moments breathed.
I know. Hold your breath for a while.
I wrote Mack trucks.
Yeah,
Mack trucks, vroom, vroom.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And I've always said that Charlotte Rae flirting is a beautiful sight to behold. We've not really seen her like in love. And I prefer her flirting.
Yeah.
Her flirting is fun because she's like,
Well, yeah.
well, you like what you see. It's so fabulous. So fabulous.
It's like she's trying to keep it inside. She's to contain herself, and that's where that extra, whatever that is, leaping out.
Well,
Girls.
there it is. You're doing it. You can continue, and whenever you are inspired, all of my guests are invited to join me.
Oh,
So then we move into Mrs. Garrett's bedroom, and she pulls out the curtains from the box, and the first line, she goes, "Oh, these are lovely."
Oh.
And I turned to you and I went, "Are they?"
It
Because
looked like flypaper. It looked awful.
They're this shit brown color. And they have some weird pattern that doesn't look like it goes with anything in her depressing Holly Hobby room. With the floral wallpaper, with the photographs of Eleanor Roosevelt and Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy on the wall.
Just random, right. Of
I
course.
mean,
like right by the door, like she like kissed her hand and kissed the picture as she left the doorway. All right, gotcha, JK.
It's Laverne and Shirley kissing
exactly.
the Beatles on the way out the
Martin,
door.
We've got a dream. I'm keeping it alive.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, Eleanor, I hope you weren't a dyke. But so the thing is, we've discussed on the show before how depressing the decor in Mrs. Garrett's room is. How all the dark wood tones matched with the overly floral Holly Hobby wallpaper, and it's just
The only thing that's missing is about 10 cats.
Yeah, exactly. No
offense to cat lovers. I love cats.
I'm a cat lover too.
Just saying.
But the 4-poster bed, and it's just all this sort of colonial, early American furniture. It is so beyond matronly. It's like if she said she inherited the entire room, including the wallpaper, from her grandmother, we'd have been like, I buy it.
I see that.
Yeah. So she pulls out these fugly curtains. Props. Didn't want to add some color.
Right, exactly.
But they're this.
Hey, I had this in my car. Here, put this on. Just go throw that on the set. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I took them down out of the bathroom or something.
It's an old shower curtain for me. Just throw it in there.
So they get into a conversation. He says it reminds him of something that he saw when he was in Tahiti with his first wife.
Right.
And she says, oh, Tahiti. And she says it would be beautiful. It must be beautiful there. And he says, well, I was thinking maybe next summer you and I could go there. And she has this...
It's the
weirdest reaction.
It's like she started
so bizarre.
Started to think about it, and then all of a sudden she got like really like a disgusting gas bubble or something.
Yeah,
just took over, and she thought, I didn't pay the electric. Oh shit! And then she just went someplace else completely. I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, but the thought balloon was supposed to be. I'm only dating this man, and he's inviting me to go on a trip with him, that's very forward. And you don't travel with someone.
I guess
the implication that you're sleeping together, and sharing quarters and all that. So I think that's what the thought balloon was supposed to be, and maybe it was to audiences in 1982. Maybe they filled that balloon with what the writers wanted. You and I are just like. And
yeah, exactly. I don't.
But
I can't recognize that balloon anymore.
But very quickly after that, he says, "Oh, I wasn't suggesting anything improper. What I had in mind was sort of a honeymoon."
Right.
And she's like, whoa. There's a lot of nonverbal, wide-eyed.
It's like, what is that? It's like, you're right. It has to be the.
And so she's like, what are you saying? And he says, I was once very happily married. With you, I could be happy again. And she says, are you asking me to marry you? And he's like, yes. And she says, we've only been dating for 3 months. And so he says, well, think about it. And she says, I will. Like, I can't make this decision quickly. And he says, of course, we'll think about it. So then
I know what you're going to say.
He kisses her. And they come, and the curtain, he says, this curtain rod is loose. And she's like, I better get a screwdriver. And so he kisses her. And they
I got your screwdriver, baby, right here. There you go. All right.
And so they have the kiss. And then they break from the kiss. And again, drive a truck through the pause of her just looking off. just stays in the sense of, the idea of, I've just kissed someone and I'm in a stupor and I have no words. And finally, she breaks it. I better go get that screwdriver. And goes off into the other room. And you're like, what? It's very, very weird.
She's on a ride, but I don't know which one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It was really... I think what their intention was each time this moment happened, but at the same time, it was so poorly executed.
Yeah.
I couldn't help be an acting critic. God.
So then we go into the girls' bedroom. Really, it's... Nothing really happens here other than she tells the girls that she tells the girls that he has proposed to her.
Right.
And the only moment of note is she's still in her happy place. And so they say, well, you haven't known him very long. And she says, nope. And he's ready to marry you? Yep. And you're considering it? Yep. And Joe says, well, this is like talking to Gary Cooper.
Right. And I turned to you and went, how the hell would she know who that is? And I don't even understand that reference. Wait, what?
I know, exactly. I agree. I don't either. Yup, nope. Is that a Gary Cooper thing? I'm not really that familiar with Gary Cooper's work. And you know who else is not familiar with Gary Cooper's work?
Joe.
A teenager, an 18-year-old teenage girl in 1982.
Right, exactly.
No. What the fuck was that? And that's not the last time Joe has us scratching our heads. We've got another one coming up later where it's like, you literally was just like, we just need a joke and Nancy McKeon needs a line.
Yeah, yes. And that shows the age of the writer. No
Yeah,
offense,
exactly.
But,
I joke the middle-aged vaudevillian writers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whackity schmackity. Oh,
yeah, it's so true. But Mrs. Garrett says, how often does someone like him come along? He's brilliant. He's worldly. And Natalie says, he's 70. And she says, Mrs. Garrett says, come on, you girls know. He's in better condition than men half his age. And then we hear, oh, from the other room. And it's like, what is that? And there's another, oh.
Like they have no idea what this could possibly be.
And she says, oh, that's Henry. And they rush out, quick fade to commercial. So it's like, what's happened?
Oh, gosh.
But what a weird, this almost ghostly like thing. As opposed to Crash.
Right.
Ow. Edna.
Something, right?
Edna, help. Edna.
No, it'll be more mysterious, David, if he does this strange little howl, because the audience that's watching this show is not smart enough to know what's happening. So they're on the edge of their seats, as we were clearly watching this. We hear that howl, and we think, oh, my Lord, a coyote is in the midst. I better go get some chips and stock up and go pee during this commercial and get right back here and sit my happy ass down to be here for this amazing reveal.
I'm not flipping.
Oh my God.
Not flipping the channel during that commercial.
It was the old man. Who knew?
Shock. You hear me? Shocked
and dismayed.
So we're at the commercial. And Kathy, during the commercials when I like to do a little getting to know you with my guests.
Oh.
And I get to ask you about your life and your career.
Oh, my God, really?
Yes.
Do you really want to know that? Okay.
Yes, I do. So, Kathy, where were you born?
I was born in northern Illinois, Rockford, Illinois, which is by Chicago.
So. Is that the home of the Rockford Peaches from A League of Their Own?
Why, yes, it is, David Almeida. Yes.
I know my history.
Yes. Yes.
From movies.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
I wouldn't have known that otherwise. Oh, that is home of the Rockford
It
Peaches.
really is. Yep.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it is also the home of the sock monkey. Yes.
What?
Yes.
That's where it was invented?
Looking at a girl from where the sock monkey was invented. Yes.
You know, my best friend Steve Miller has an irrational fear of sock monkeys.
I'm really happy you told me that.
I am not kidding. He thinks they are
God.
creepy, and so he hates them. So we torture him with them all the time.
So if I run into you at Fringe, I need to have a sock monkey in my pocket.
Do it.
I mean,
Sneak
shouldn't
up,
everyone though? Really?
Sneak up on Steve Miller. I would love it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yes, the mouth of the sock monkey is the heel of the sock.
And it looks like sewn together. He says it looks like sewn together lips of a corpse, you know? So where did you go to school to learn the techniques of your theatrical arts?
Oh, my goodness. Well, in that case, I guess I didn't study until I got to Northern Illinois University. Mm-hmm. I got my associates first, and then I transferred there too.
Okay, now did you do theater before that? Did you perform?
I did.
As a kid or
Nope,
high
not at all. I actually got into theater because I only had one friend, and I was afraid of losing her.
Oh.
That is the saddest, very darkest truth. I was worried about never having any friends, and here's the shy girl who was afraid to speak in front of people. Now I'm going to sing.
Yeah, wow.
Because that's easy.
Sure.
And it was probably the most terrifying, most horrific audition that ever was, and the most terrifying experience of my life.
And you got Mama Rose and Gypsy.
And I swear to God, I never felt more happy. I did not get cast. It was awful. I mean, it was awful.
Yeah.
But I did it, and I didn't die.
Yeah.
And I learned a very important lesson there. So that's also the facts of life, children.
Yes.
There. You know,
to my fives of listeners.
I faced my fear, and I don't know how it happened, but the joy of facing my fear literally carried me through to the next year, and I auditioned again.
Huh.
Yeah.
And where did you go to college?
It was in Dekalb, Illinois, so Northern Illinois, NIU. Supposedly John Malkovich went there.
Really?
But then he left because he couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
It's too difficult.
Yeah. Go to Steppenwolf. No. Then connect the dots? How did you come to be in Orlando and become the theme park amazing performeress that you
yes, amazing theme park performer.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, honestly, my brothers have a family meat market, okay? And when I was 14, I started working there. And I knew that if I did not leave at some point, I would be not only 14, I would be 44, I'd be 84, and I'd still be working there.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to get out, or that would be it. So 2 weeks after college graduation, I had an opportunity to move to Florida, and I said to myself, I said, you know what? The place that I've always had consistently a good time was Disney World. And it might be cheesy to a lot of people and this and that, but we always had so much fun when we came on our family vacations. And I went, I know one thing, and I know that I do not want to be miserable.
True.
I do not want to stay in a climate that is going to make me depressed, which is a very difficult thing when you're in the north, and that seasonal depression can get to you, and the cold and the whole thing. So I literally packed 2 bags. I didn't even have suitcases. I literally had a carpet bag like friggin' Mary Poppins. Not even an umbrella. And I grabbed my comforter and I jumped into a car of a practical stranger and moved to Florida. And ended up getting a job at this Hollywood Studios, which was then MGM.
And what was your first job?
I worked at Superstar Television.
I remember that.
Yeah, I got a job, and I was, basically somebody who held cue cards next to the host for Superstar Television, and did little spiels on whatever it was.
And that theater now is where the Frozen sing-along celebration is.
Yes, sir.
It has had many things in there.
Same one.
In between, but that building still stands. And then you and I met at Sleuths Mystery Dinner Theater.
We did.
I still work. You do not, because you have abandoned us to get a legitimate job.
I'm sorry.
Blech.
I
But since we're talking about it, blah, blah, discuss your post-performance career, where you are now.
Well, it's dramatically different from acting, I'll tell you. I went back to school, and I do occupational therapy with kids who are challenged in various ways. So I'm a pediatric occupational therapist. Thank you.
Wow.
I know it makes it sound so smart, but really I'm not. I work with children because that way I feel smarter. That's the thing. It is amazing.
Wow.
It's one of the most rewarding things I've ever done, though. I have to say.
I was just going to ask you that, and I'm so happy.
Thank you.
That you found it. And the beautiful thing I've said many, many times is that our arts community is so rich in Central Florida. When the time comes, when you want to come back to the stage, when you can make the time between family and career, the stage will always be here. That will be there for you.
That was a lovely thing to say, though. Thank you.
Yes. I miss you so terribly. I resent this podcast. We hung out a little bit beforehand, and I was like, well, fuck, we got to do the podcast now, and I just want to sit and talk to you and catch up and stuff. But it has been awesome. We need to do this more. God damn it. We need to make the time and do it more.
All right. Pinky promise.
Pinky promise. Pinky swear. Okay, we're going to hang out
swear.
more.
It's happening.
Need to do it.
Even though you can't see it. Oh, and I just hit my elbow from that pinky swear.
Oh, dear. It's cursed. It's cursed. So let's get back to the show.
Sorry. Okay, yes.
We are back from commercial. Mrs. Garrett's bedroom.
Oh. Sorry. That was Mrs. Garrett's.
That's her leitmotif. Every time I say Mrs. Garrett.
Oh.
He gets annoyed.
I'm laughing. Girls.
Yeah, we've got Henry laying on Mrs. Garrett's bed.
Laying on Mrs. Garrett? Wait, what?
What? And she is propping him up with some pillows. And the long and short of it is, he's thrown out his lower back. He's had some degenerating disc problems, blah, blah, blah. And he says the only cure is just laying down and letting it work itself out. And Mrs. Garrett says, well, you're not moving until I nurse you back to health. And he says, it usually takes a month or so.
No.
First of all, Joe is the one that's like, well, let's clear out here. And Joe says, and Mrs. Garrett, you need to help me get the rollaway bed to set it up in our room where you are going to be sleeping.
Right.
Meaning... Suddenly Joe is
the moral compass of the show.
She's the virgin alarm, the chastity belt gatekeeper. It's like, you were the one that was trying to get married when you were 16.
You know, that's exactly what you were saying before is, Joe needs a line.
Exactly.
Let's have her say this.
Yeah.
It's like they wrote the lines and then went back and went, okay, all right, Natalie says this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I agree. And so... He does ask her about the proposal, and she says she's thinking about it, because that was literally 20 minutes ago.
Right, yeah.
When I said I have to think about it, I meant longer than 20 fucking minutes. Right. And so just when we thought that the room was ugly and those curtains were going to make it uglier, she realizes the brilliant idea of pulling a horn off the wall.
Yes.
That we did not see there.
No.
And hands it to him and basically says, honk if you need something. So it says, it's this awful walrusy sounding, big, gigantic old, I don't even know what this.
That horn was my mother's. She used to honk it. Oh, I remember the days. Every Christmas, my mother would take the horn and do the ceremonial honk. What the hell? Where did she pick that shit up?
But at the same time, it's like, it's like, of course that's on the wall. That fits perfectly with the, what the hell? The decor. It's like, what? Anyway, so, but the thing is, so the plan is, clearly he's going to stay there. It's like, not, well, it takes a month to work it out? Okay, well, you're going to be in a little bit of pain when they put you on the stretcher and wheel your fucking carcass out of here. You can't stay here. What the shit?
What the shit? What the shit? I know. No, it's just the dialogue is a little all too convenient, you know.
I mean, the fact that it's just like, I have to lay down in a bed for a month. Oh, okay. Well, I guess you're there. Right. Cool. Let's go have some juicy fruit.
Nobody's got a phone that they're going to reach over and go, really? Is that how long it takes to...
Yeah, exactly.
Just look this up. Well, man, that shit ain't right. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, get the rotary phone to dial WebMD. So then we go to another later scene in the hallway. And now we're in our school uniforms. So time has passed. Yes. Tootie and Natalie appear. Tootie is really hung up as the romanticist of this episode. She literally says all the time, oh, it's so romantic how Mrs. Garrett's been nursing him back to health. And Natalie's like, God damn it, that's annoying. Right. And Tootie is just in this state of bliss of, it's like, what is
I don't remember. Was Tootie like that in other episodes?
No.
She was a little more matter of fact, wasn't she?
Tootie likes boys, but like Natalie's the boy crazy one. Blair is probably more the romanticist.
Yeah, she was the romanticist.
I guess, but Tootie's been like this, but never to this extent. I mean, it's anyway. So Mrs. Garrett comes running up like a servant. And she was like, was that Henry's horn? And goes running in the room.
Oh, you honked. I love the way a man honks. All right, sorry.
You're a hunk who honks.
That was a reach. Had a good one, though.
So he is in the bed. Now he's in his pajamas. He is moved the fuck in.
Yep.
So you can change out of your gym suit and into your pajamas.
Clearly.
But you can't be put in a wheelchair and walk down some stairs. You know what I mean? It's like, dude.
Yeah, that's a little far reaching.
But anyhow, and really, he has very quickly become a fussy, bitchy pain in the ass.
Right.
And he's like, I can't find my fingernail clippers. And she's like, well, here. And he's like, no, those are my toenail clippers. They're totally different. And she says, I brought them. I know I brought them with this other stuff from your apartment, like your pipe and this and that. Oh, here they are and everything. And then a weird moment. Blair comes in. So, how are we doing today?
Yes, very weird. Yep.
And he says, you know the use of the plural pronoun we in a condescending manner to talk to an individual is one of my peeves.
And he gets so angry.
And just freezes with this sourpuss face. And it was, what a weird acting choice. As opposed to just continuing, you know, when people do that, that's a pet peeve of mine. Like, you shouldn't. Yeah. And honestly, he's an English lit professor. Right. He could have totally chosen the condescending. Right. I'm your that's not really the right way to talk angle. He could have just been an asshole.
See, now there's so many moments like that you're like, okay, this is a poor choice on behalf of the actor, but who the hell allowed that to go through?
Thank you. Who's the director? I
don't know. I don't know. I don't get it.
But that's the only moment for him that I was like, ooh, dude.
Yeah.
The rest of it's pretty nice.
Pull it back.
Natalie has a lovely little bit of like, wow, he's looking a lot better. Isn't he looking better?
Right.
Wow, you look like you might soon be feeling well enough to get up and get out. And Natalie's got the right attitude. We are on Natalie's side here.
Yeah, we are definitely on Team Natalie. Yes.
And
agreed.
He is just like, ooh, well, this room is beginning to resemble a slumber party, and blah, blah, blah. And I can't sleep with that horrible music they have across the hall. Doesn't anybody know any Mozart around here? And it's like, yeah, we know Mozart, but we don't play it because we're 18 and it's 1982, you old fucking codger.
Right.
And you're a guest here.
Yeah.
Show some grace. You know, I hope it's not too much of a trouble. Thank you so much. I really feel bad for inconveniencing you. Nothing. It's like you You asshole!
It's like, oh, okay, guys, we've got 6 minutes to fill. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put all these lines in here right now. Now you're going to just have to jump to this moment real quick. Real quick. Let's go, people. Come on.
Emotional shorthand. Emotional shorthand. But then, so the scene then goes to a little bit later, I think the same day, Mrs. Garrett's bedroom, and Joe comes in. Here's the newspaper that you asked me to bring you. And he's like, and he honks the horn, and Joe says, wow, you do a great Harpo.
Holy crap.
And he says, And she said, Joe,
right.
who has never done anything like this before.
She's very up on Gary Cooper.
And now she says, and then she mimics the cigar and does her Groucho impression. Like Joe has never, ever done before and will never, ever do again after this. She goes, say the secret word and win $100.
Which is, even if you knew who the Marx Brothers were, okay, maybe okay.
Yeah.
Why would you know You Bet Your Life, which was that old show with the duck that came down?
I know. It's like, he's mad because the financial section from the paper's missing. She picked up tobacco for him because she's a child buying tobacco.
I missed that. She picked up tobacco?
Yeah, and it was the wrong cut. Like, it was the right flavor, but the wrong... Like, it was coarse versus
I kept looking at the
fine
newspaper and like yeah.
But no, she picked up tobacco. I mean, technically Joe is 18, so I guess she if 18 could buy cigarette products in New York in 1982.
If anybody there is going to buy cigarettes, it would be the ruffian. That is Joe.
Yeah. So then in comes Mrs. Garrett and Natalie, and you, Kathy, lost your mind. When they walk in and they put their arms around each other like they're presenting themselves to him, like a sister vaudevillian act. And Mrs. Garrett says,
bad choice.
Natalie and I are going to a Save the Whales rally. And you were like, Save the Whales?
Why? Why did they choose Natalie for that? No.
Yeah. Not cool.
Couldn't she have Tootie if they had to push the whole Save the Whales thing? No.
Yeah. It's like, no. But anyway, it's pretty bad. And the other thing going on here is we have never really gotten political to suddenly have a Save the Whales, which is a super crazy. That was at the time a crazy liberal thing to do. Right. And remember, this is Reagan's America now.
Yep.
Reagan's been president for about almost 2 years now, and Reagan's America was very conservative, and the Save the Whales, no nukes thing that was considered kind of nut jobbery almost.
Yep.
And it's so weird to suddenly attach this very political thing to the girls or Mrs. Garrett or whatever, and he responds with, well, why are you going to a rally for whales? Have whales ever put on a rally to save people?
Such a weird choice because, okay, we get that you're trying to be as opposite of this, person as possible. You're being liberal-minded and so forth. And he says it's a waste of time. He's so uptight.
And he says, Edna, if young people got as excited about their grades as they are about their whales, rock and roll, and narcotics, we'd all be much better off. And even she says, isn't that a bit judgmental, Henry? This is literally like a woman dating a guy and then being like, what, you voted for Trump? What? You know what I mean? I mean, there's clearly a very opposite political ideal.
Right.
And things weren't nearly as polarized back then as they are now. But still, that stuff is important. People probably work through it a little bit better. But the deal is, that's one of those things where it's like, you probably should have kind of already had a sense of that by now. Yeah. 3 months, if you're feeling that close.
Totally crossed my mind, too.
Yeah.
Did they not talk throughout any of this?
Yeah. How do you not know that's at the base core? That's your value system.
Yeah.
How do you say that you're infatuated with somebody when you don't have a grip on that yet? That's weird.
Yeah.
That's very weird. And then Tootie brings him, the moment is broken by Tootie bringing him cocoa. Puts it down on the table, says, I put a marshmallow in it. And he does say, oh, that's lovely, dear. He doesn't say thank you, but he does say something thank you adjacent, where, oh, that's nice, dear, or something, and calls her dear. And then Tootie sits on the bed next to him. There is a chair next to the bed.
Right.
But she sits on the bed next to him like a 15-year-old teenage girl.
No.
Help me.
Yeah, that would be a little
creepy. Did that strike you?
A little creepy. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And I just thought, who directed this? Because there were a lot of strange directing choices. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Judy says, point flat out, so if you guys get married, is Mrs. Garrett going to move in with you, or are you going to live here? And he's like, you told them about my proposal.
All right.
And she's like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, it seems as though my private life is going to be on the 11 o'clock news around here. And the girls are like, well, you have our blessings. We're totally on board. This is cool. We think it's great. And he's like, well, do you really need the blessings from these girls? They seem to be far too much. They seem to have far too much say in your life as it is. And Mrs. Garrett just pauses and says, girls, go save the whales without me.
And I'm waiting for her to just
and yeah. And here's the deal.
And she goes to the door and kisses Martin Luther King's picture. We're going to be free at last.
Yes, exactly. Oh, my Lord. So she goes into this weird, God, the writing takes a weird turn here. She starts saying, I could never live with you. Your apartment is so civilized and immaculate. Basically, she says he's a neat freak. He keeps his fridge in alphabetical order. Ha ha ha, there's a laugh.
Right, yeah.
And then she says, I've imagined what we'd be like together, and we're fighting about something. And I don't remember we're arguing about whales. And then she says, how do you feel about non-union lettuce? Again, this is liberal shit for the time.
Right. It gets
and he says, I don't really think about it. And she says, well, you should if you eat salad. And she said, in our house, or in this house, we always look for the union label, which was a marketing
look
campaign.
For the union label when you are buying.
Yeah, that was a big thing. But again, union, that's such a lefty liberal thing.
Yep.
And he says to her, oh, Edna, why do you fill your life with all this clutter? Like, it's just, aren't you being silly?
Yep.
And then the discussion gets to, we haven't discussed love. And now, supposedly, the deal breaker in this conversation is he says, love is something that young people do. It's this this silly fancy, like you've been living with these teenagers too long to want this silly notion of love. And he says, and it makes people idiots. And he lists off some things, and Mrs. Garrett's like, yeah, I love one of those.
Right.
She wants to be in love. And so she says, I'm impressed by you, but love is a different thing. And she says, the answer is no.
But right then I went, okay, why are you smiling? She says, the answer is no. And he has this almost relieved, well, I tried anyway, kind of looked.
I thought of it, and I'm thinking it might have been an attempt to play up that he understands and it's okay. He's not mad. He's not sad. But the last thing is he says, give me a kiss. I want to find out what I'll be missing. So she goes over to him to kiss him. And the final joke, the punchline of the whole episode, just as she's about to start to kiss him, she backs off and says, wait, how's your heart?
Right. Right.
But, I mean, we, on this show.
I don't love you, but I'm really going to give it to you right now.
Exactly. It's like, is he going to cop a feel just for the road? But,
It's like they wrote the script and then cut a whole bunch of it out and pieced things together and gave lines that were intended for somebody else to somebody else and just kind of, oh, well, we'll just do this. Here you go. We'll figure it out. And then the actors are left to have to try to make it work.
Yeah.
Which,
and
you know that feeling.
Been there, done that.
Yes. Over and over.
And we joke about we have notes for the writers that we do, and then I'm going to send them back in the time machine and tell them to fix them. But the thing about this is when that door shut and Mrs. Garrett is about to have the heart-to-heart where she says no.
Right.
I would throw out that entire scene. Throw the whole fucking thing out.
Agreed.
Because
Agreed.
the thing that drives me crazy is when the most obvious thing that needs to be said is not said. And the most obvious thing is she needs to say to him, Henry, you are being an unreasonable asshole. I know you're in pain, but you still need to be a kind person to me and my girls. We're doing you a favor letting you stay here.
Perfect. Yep.
And do you really think that the things I believe in are silly and a waste of time? These are things that are important to me. Why would you want to marry me if you're going to be dismissive of the things that have some value for me? What has value for you other than listening to Mozart and complaining about young people?
Right.
She should have taken him to fucking task.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
She let him off so damn easy to the point of kissing him at the end. She should have walked over and slapped him across the face and said, I don't care if you are wailing in pain. Get the fuck out of my house.
Yep.
I would have capped off. I can't believe I was even considering being with somebody who is so completely ungracious and ungrateful and dismissive of the amount of charity and inconvenience we're going to. How dare you?
Right.
But then I want to take it the next step. We've talked on this show about how Mrs. Garrett is so perfect. How one of the problems with her character being bland is that she is at times without any flaws. This is where she could have gone to the girls. And, every show has a lesson. This is a lesson show because it is
I was waiting for that. I don't know. I was waiting for a little tie-up with the girls at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the lesson, she should have gone to the girls afterwards and have them say, so what happened in there? Right. And she said the engagement there is no engagement type of a thing. And have the girls say, oh, we're sorry. But have Mrs. Garrett say to the girls, I really got carried away. Yeah. I was so dazzled with all of his credits and his credentials and his charms that I really didn't.
Right.
I take some responsibility that I didn't really try to get to know him. And I didn't understand who he was and what his values were.
Absolutely. And what a great, important lesson for young girls to see.
Yes.
I was in love with being in love. I was not in love with this person. I was in love with the idea of it. I wanted to be in love, but reality.
And she could have directed that directly to Tootie, the romantic of the group, and say, don't lose that idealism. It's a wonderful thing to want to be in love, but be in love for the right reasons and with the right person.
Right.
That could have been the great lesson of this show, and that could have been a point in the show where a flaw in Mrs. Garrett is revealed. And they could have even punched that up earlier with the fact that she was more carried away
Absolutely.
with that than who he is.
Do you think that was kind of the overall style of the shows in the 80s, though? They didn't delve deep. The sitcoms...
Yeah, I think the best word is shitty would be how you describe it.
Because, they didn't get real deep into the character development of things and like today.
Agreed, but this is a show that has dealt with abortion.
Well, yeah, that's
suicide.
True. Oh, that's true. A little groundbreaking there.
Plagiarism. Honesty, teenage marriage, teen pregnancy. I mean, this show has taken it upon itself to be an issue-driven show at times because it's a Norman Lear. It was developed by Norman Lear.
Right.
So it still has that little vein running through it. So when the shows are this off, it really sticks out like a sore thumb. So, Kathy, this is where we take our leave. But before we go, the last thing I will ask of you.
Oh, yes.
Think of a random commercial from your childhood. Anything you can think of. When I say a commercial from your childhood, what comes to mind?
I don't know why, but the first thing was, oh, cedar makes your life easier. I don't know why. Oh, cedar was a broom. I don't know. It's the very first thing that flashed into my mind.
I am going to find that. Wait a minute.
Oh, well. She sang
What?
a little bit better.
We just watched it on YouTube.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to post this.
Well, there you go.
So, on that note,
I'm sorry.
Kathy, I am so glad you made the time. You are a visit. It's getting late.
I'm a visit. What? What does that mean?
You are a very busy woman juggling a career and your children and your.
It's hard to juggle children too. When they fall, they cry.
And they're
so
5 years
annoying.
apart, so the difference in weight, I'm sure.
But I'm that good, David. I am that
Soup
good.
for Mom.
That's right. You've never heard it on the news yet. No neighbors have complained. I'm
well-
in the clear.
Well, I'm so glad that this brought us together. I'm so glad
too.
it brought you to the house. I hope you'll come back.
you. I love that you
And until then, I love you. I adore you. I miss you. And goodbye.
I love you too. Goodbye and thank you.
Mwah. And there you have it. That was Kathy Bakerwood. God, I love her so much. It just, I love her. That's it, really. Nothing else to add to what's already been said. Next week, I'm going to be watching Season 4, Episode 12, A Royal Pain. And I'm going to have another special guest. That's all for this week. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And remember, the facts of life are all about you. Let's Face the Facts was produced, written, hosted, and edited by me, David Almeida. My theme song was beautifully arranged and recorded by Ned Wilkinson. Our website is facethefactspod.com. You have to drop the let's. And that's where you can find extra pictures, video, and audio extras from the digital cutting room floor. Follow the show on social media. We're everywhere under the handle Face the Facts Pod. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/FaceTheFactsPod. And don't forget, go to your favorite podcatchers and subscribe, rate, and review. Tune in again next week for another thrilling episode of Let's Face the Facts.